It's called Bottle of Darkness. Light and darkness were bent in eternity, the wars ravaged for years. Light living off the hope of tomorrow, darkness living off fears. Then one day he came to the country, unmatched power to stop it all. With light he spread his wings to shine, and darkness met its final fall. He shoved the shadow into the spellcast bottle, its wordless voice thrashing a threat. A bloodthirsty terror was what he saw, and that sight he would regret. But he knew what darkness was, the cause of all pain and strife. With that shadow finally locked away, the world was free to live its life. He hid the bottle in the forest, though no one would ever seek, for who would ever want to find where darkness quivered weak? And so the times began to pass, the centuries never ending. While light and goodness ruled all the world, war-torn cities were mending. The bottle merely sat and sat, forgotten like a curse. With fear and hate nowhere left, there was no such thing as a worse. But then one day he came back, his hands frail and aching. He lifted the bottle up from its nest, it could feel him shaking. Above his head he rose a glass, his hands wrapped around the throttle, and with one teary-eyed cry, he smashed the spellcast bottle. Yes, light may rule the world, he said, and all be great and good, but just because I can bottle darkness never meant I should. Without the dark no life can come, for from darkness all begins. By sealing you away in there, it was the greatest of all my sins. From the darkness we learn and grow, in the darkness we cry out, because in the darkness we begin to know what real life is all about. We can live on for the rest of eternity, never even knowing death. But what value is all of time with no value of one breath? The darkness glanced back at him, spirit broken and torn. You still don't get it, it said ever so softly, as it shook its head in scorn. You really think that was the worst? How selfish can you be? I know your corruption and your sin, because you all shove it in me. You saved only what you knew, cleaning the world of its taint, because what you did to make your light was remove all that you hate. You wrapped them up one by one, those unclean and unsaved, and me you sealed them forever, sending them to their grave. Assuming their cries were lying figments, doing anything you could to pretend, shutting out the dark like it never existed, you made sure they were condemned. Of course you were trapped in forever. Of course you could not move on. Change comes from what is different, and what was different you made gone. Yes, light may rule the world. Perhaps maybe it should. But just because you can bottle darkness does not mean your light is good.